Iran is trying to increase the economic costs on the United States as much to tighten the pressure as much as they can. This is quite a significant escalation and development. The Houthis have proven the ability to exercise a blockade in their part of the world. So the al-Mandeb Strait is what connects the Red Sea to the Indian Ocean, and it's where traffic from Europe to Asia and Middle East, right, will go. They have threatened to put on a blockade on only at this point Saudi Arabian oil shipments or Saudi Arabian shipments. Which is the oil shipments that are coming across via pipeline. So this has been quite an important relief and offset for the disruption from the Strait of Hormuz. About 5 million barrels of oil a day are coming through that pipeline out through the Red Sea. So this is quite a significant development and one that Iran has promised for quite some time to move into this front if it felt it needed to.
Are we watching a return to all-out war between Iran and the United States?
Yes, we are at a stage of war, but it is at a lower intensity than what we saw in the first phase of the war before the April ceasefire. So what the United States was trying to achieve then, and with their partner with Israel, was a strategic bombing campaign. And essentially what that means is that they were trying to win the war through air power, through a bombing campaign, and overwhelm the regime in that way. That failed, and that's why they moved on from that. What we're seeing now is a higher intensity than what we've had in recent memory of this war, but certainly a lower level than a strategic bombing campaign. The United States is not trying to win this war through its bombing campaign at the moment. What they're trying to do is degrade the Iranian military's ability to exercise any control over the Strait of Hormuz, and that's the strategic goal at this point for the United States.
Is Iran also showing some restraint? Because while it has been striking additional countries in the Middle East, those with US military bases, it hasn't sought to target Israel since the ceasefire broke down.
Iran has consistently shown restraint throughout the conflict, right? That they have proven their ability to use their ballistic missiles and drones to hit a whole array of targets. And it's a very target-rich environment for them. And that's a real asset for them because they can hold that over the United States. If you attack us in a very large way, then we can respond in a very large way. But your hostages aren't useful to you if you kill them, right? So the Iran needs to make sure that those targets are there. And if they overstep, then they're inviting more retaliation on themselves. And that's not the situation they want to be in. So they want to have the ability to escalate if they need to, but they don't want to do that unnecessarily.
And so given the significance of Iran's proxies exercising or threatening a blockade in this way, is Iran in fact boosting its chance to ultimately exercise greater control over the Strait of Hormuz?
Yes, Iran is trying to increase the economic costs on the United States as much to tighten the pressure as much as they can. Iran ultimately wants to exercise authority over the Strait of Hormuz. I don't believe that they're too concerned about extending that authority to the al-Mandeb Strait or the Red Sea. But the Houthis there are important proxies for Iran, and they want to make sure that they are going to be useful for it going forward. It's certainly useful for them now in extending that front to that Red Sea.
Is a diplomatic solution possible?
A diplomatic solution is possible, but it's not going to be on terms that I think the United States will want and perhaps the world will want when it comes to the issue of the Strait. Iran will push for control of the Strait of Hormuz. This is a red line for them, and they're in a position to push that forward. There's a whole bunch of other concessions that they want, and given that this memorandum of understanding has collapsed, they're going to have a much hardline position, we expect, and they're going to probably demand more upfront concessions from the United States. And this will be much more politically difficult for the United States to do, and that's the reason why we think that the conflict will last a little bit longer from here, just because that diplomatic solution is so difficult now.
What are the implications for global supply chains and inflationary pressures?
So obviously with the Strait closed, we are seeing price pressures again on energy resources, particularly gas and oil, which come from the Strait of Hormuz. Fertilizer has also been a concern here. Other commodities that are tied up in the Strait, particularly urea fertilizer and aluminium, these prices have started to stabilize. But the other ones we've seen this increase again. If we do actually see the Houthis come out to play in a big way and stop Saudi Arabia from exporting its oil, again, that's another 5 million barrels of oil a day that will be taken off the global market, and that's going to have additional pressures on prices.
Madison Cartwright, thank you.
Thank you.